you first of all start off with that. How are you doing?
Right now, I mean, as of last night, I was a wreck. I'm not even going to hold you. Like, the first time I heard that my brother was dead, I laughed because I was like, it's a joke. There's no way. He's too full of life. But now I've been able to get a lot of rest. It went from me, before I fell asleep last night, being anxious. I was constantly pacing back and forth. I was a mess. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I was a mess. But as of right now, I've been able to accept what has happened, and I feel like I'm already on a path to getting better. You know, I have a lot of support. My family is there for me, both family who is blood and who is not blood. I've got a lot of friends and stuff. I feel very confident that my family is going to be well after this. I mean, no, of course, we're not going to be 100% better because Tommy's not here, you know. But as far as putting back our lives together, financially, I think we got it. Everyone's been so kind and so helpful, and I'm really grateful to everyone.
Take me back to that evening and kind of clarify how things started. What do you remember happening?
I'm going to go ahead and set the record straight. I'm going to say everything from my account from the moment I woke up to the moment of now. I'm going to make sure that you and everyone out there knows everything so that way there are absolutely no questions. Yeah. As far as that night went, I woke up to orange flames in my room. And me and my brother, we shared a room because we're not necessarily rich folk. We don't necessarily have the best financial lifestyle. I mean, so we share a room. We're shared. So I woke up to him screaming because the fire was mostly by his bed. And after he woke me up, I ran to my dad, waking him up because he was sleeping right in the next room on the couch. I woke him up. He leaped out of bed. And then me and my brother and my dad was running to the kitchen. My dad was trying to get water, I guess. He went to the sink, and that's to be expected. I mean, if there's a fire, most people are going to run to the kitchen and get a pot of water. And so he tried to tell us to wake up our mother. I panicked, so I ran in the bathroom first before he said that. I ran in the bathroom because I was scared of the smoke. You know, I didn't want to be breathing that in because I don't like being suffocated. That's one of my fears. So I brought me and Tommy in there, not thinking because, you know, I was panicking, and everyone at the time wasn't thinking clearly at all for obvious reasons. And so I got out of the bathroom because I was like, what am I doing? I'm going to trap myself in here. I'm about to make this bathroom my coffin if I stay in here. So I brought me and Tommy back out. I don't know where Tommy went from there. All I know is when I got back out, I couldn't see anything. It was just pitch black darkness. The smoke, it was acrid, it was sour, it was bitter and horrible and smell, and I could taste it. I could feel it in my lungs. The air felt like it was on fire. And I remember trying to breathe, and I couldn't. I was screaming because I was terrified. I felt like I was being suffocated from the inside out. And my dad was screaming, crawl, crawl, get down on the floor, and tried to find me and get out the back door. And I think my little brother misheard him. I think he went to the front door. Now, as far as I know and have heard, I do not know where my brother's body laid to rest. I'm assuming it was in the kitchen. I think we should all assume that he died instantly of smoke inhalation and that he died without suffering too much of a great deal. I think we should at least assume that for now until they say otherwise. That, because that's what me and my aunt have been doing. Because we need some sense of comfort, you know. And
how did you make it out? Which way did you go?
The back door. That's what I'm getting to. So after me trying to search around in the darkness because I couldn't see anything, I decided to go with what my dad said. I got down on the floor and crawling on all fours, trying to find him. I was following his voice, and lo and behold, there he was on all fours himself, trying to protect me from all the stuff that was falling, because like even the roof itself had caught on fire, and stuff from the ceiling was falling down and burning my dad's back, his hands, his feet. They were all burnt. His skin, oh goodness, it hurt a lot, and he couldn't. Oh my goodness, all the screaming and shouting he was doing, he got so much soot in his lungs. And so I finally found the back door, and I got out. I crawled under him and out the door, and I ran. At first, I started retching, but nothing was coming up. My stomach was empty, so nothing was coming up, of course, and I was just taking deep breaths, and for about 30 seconds, I panicked. I didn't know what to do. My mind was racing. I thought, this isn't real. This is a nightmare, Nothing like this actually happens to people. I mean, it does, but not me, not our family. It doesn't, no, there's no way. And then finally, it dawned on me, if this is real, then I need to get my psyche together. I need to get my mindset together and on fixing this. I need to go save my family immediately. And the best thing I could come up with was to go get help, 911, because I'm not an expert. I have not gone into any fireman training. So I knew I wasn't going to be of any help if I went back in. So I ran to this kind woman's house, covered from head to toe in black powder, almost like it looks like someone dumped gunpowder on me. And again, I had that horrible sour smell of smoke and of burning plastic and wood and wallpaper and everything in the house that was burning. It was on me. And I banged on her door. I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, please, I need help. I need help." And she opened the door to me, and she opened both her door and her heart to me. And she let me in her house, and she offered her shower to me. I mean, I didn't stay long enough for me to be able to use the shower, but she was so kind. And then my neighbor showed up on her doorstep. One of my neighbors, actually, she lives on the corner of our little trailer park, and she's so sweet. She was frantic because she's like an aunt to me. And so she came running, and she was like, "Sweetie, are you okay? Are you okay?" And she offered me a pair of shoes, and we went back to the dirt road, because when the place that I first ran to after leaving the house and getting out of there was at the front of the trailer park. And so at that time, I wasn't thinking straight. I just started running, and that's when I landed on the woman's doorstep. But the lady on the corner came to pick me up and walked me back to the dirt road behind the road where you first turn in and see it. All you see is like the first trailer and maybe like a few behind it. When you go into the dirt road, though, that's when you see the entirety of our neighborhood, and that's where she took me. And so my dad was out on a stretcher, and so yeah, my dad was crying. He was frantic himself. He was oh my God, I ain't never seen my daddy like that. He was absolutely distraught. He thought he failed my whole family, and I had to explain to him no. And I tried to hold his hand, and he jerked back, and he winced as I touched his hand because it was burnt, and he kept saying, "I couldn't save Tommy. I couldn't save your mother. I couldn't. And I was like, "Daddy, it's not your fault. You did all you could, Don't blame yourself." And shoot, I mean, still right now he blames himself. But then I got to the hospital after they had put him on a chopper and took me in the ambulance. Then they took me here, and an officer came to talk to me. And again, shout out to all the people here, everyone in Fayetteville who is helping. I mean, honestly, because the doctors themselves, even they have been so supportive through this process and this absolute crisis that my family is going through. The sheriff, she called up a close friend, family friend of ours, an SRO at Douglasford High School. His name is Delbert Bray. What a gentleman. I mean, he called me up at 2. Well, I had a sheriff call him up at 2 in the morning. He leaped out of bed, answered the phone call immediately, and he talked to me. He talked me through it. And then shortly afterwards, my Aunt April came in, and that's when I got the news that my little brother, Thomas James Miller, full of life, bright blue eyes, kindred spirit, absolutely funny. I mean, everyone at school adored him. All of his teachers, all the students. Also, if a little girl named Icy Rucker is watching, I want you to know he loved you. He had a Valentine's Day card for you, girlie. And just everyone, I want you to know that my little brother is watching down, and I'm sure he's very grateful for all of you helping, and I'm pretty sure he'd love to be on TV. I mean, he'd be so happy to know he was on the news, you know. His picture.
We put his handsome picture on TV, and I saw it when Lena Tillette looked at him. She said, "What gorgeous eyes!" So she turned
that's my little brother.
Yeah. When the let's go back before the fire started, because we think it's electrical. Did they say for sure? Was it a heater, or what is your recollection of that?
Okay, so as far from my knowledge of what happened in my room, I personally have two theories, because I haven't heard anything distinct as far as what caused it, what triggered it. I haven't heard anything absolutely for sure. So, as far as I know, it could be one or two things. Either A, the space heater that was in our room, or B, a faulty outlet that has been messed up for a while. And our trailer was 20 years old. So, I mean, that wire in the wall, I seriously think that very well could have been it, because the whole wall caught on fire. And
it could have been a combination of the two, that if there's a bad outlet and a load is put on it, then I think
that's fairly plausible as well.
Yeah, the combination. So. Yeah. Well, look, you are a trooper. This community loves you and your family.
And we love the community, and we are very grateful for it. Thank you, everyone. May God be with all of you.
Well, look, you get some rest and continue to heal. And as you go through this process here, we'll keep you and your dad and your mom in our prayers. And we hope you all make a speedy recovery, okay?
Thank you so much, Mr. Bays.
And Hannah, I will make sure that Christy gets a copy or a link on WRAL to the story that we'll do on this. I'm not sure what time it'll go on, but that way you're not just sitting around kind of, I wonder if it's coming on here. I'll call her and let her know exactly what time it's going to come on, okay? Are you being discharged today? Do you know?
There's like a 95% chance. I mean, as long as nothing else crazy happens, because like last night, yesterday afternoon, I was having really bad like twitches and stuff, and my body was going stiff. My whole body, like my muscles, they was contracted on their own, and they said it was because of the anxiety. My body was overwhelmed. But right now, as of today, I don't recall any of that happening, so I think they're going to let me go, because I think I'm doing much better now that I've accepted the situation. Now that I'm working through it, I'm honestly feeling like I'm going to be okay. So, yeah, I think they'll let me go.
Did you have any idea how your mom and dad are doing at this point?
As far as I know, I'm so glad you asked. I've got like 20 tabs open in my mind. I'm sorry. As far as my mother goes, she hasn't been able to hold down food. Her lungs are terrible in shape right now. She has something called pleurisy. And for those who don't know what pleurisy is, it's basically a disease in the lungs that make your lungs sensitive to very, very minute differences and stuff. Like, for example, I couldn't even use a whole lot of perfume growing up because it would affect my mother so badly. She'd start coughing. Think of it a lot like asthma. It's not asthma, but the symptoms are very similar to it.
So she had that before the fire, and then so the fire just didn't help.
By all means.
Okay.
Yeah, by all means, that fire did not help at all. And as far as my dad goes, he's a smoker. So he was really not doing well from the fire. Both of them sustained burns on their skin. I don't think any, to any medical degree, so to speak, but enough to hurt, of course. I mean, that's as far as I know. Nobody's told me that they're going to need skin grafting or stitches or anything like that. But they're both mentally, as far as mental health goes, they're terrible, especially my dad. He's really not well. So if all y'all could just pray for him and pray that he gets the sense of ease that he needs, because he's blaming himself. And I told him, don't do that, because it's not your fault. He did everything he could, my dad. He was the superhero. He's the real trooper.